Welcome to the Wild Pitch Podcast.
All right, guys, we're back again. Another episode, and today it comes from Wilmington, North Carolina. I tell you, this Wild Pitch Podcast has really been traveling around the country. We're expanding, like I said last time, at a rapid rate. We have an international one coming from Toronto, Canada, but today, Tommy Reardon joins us. Tommy was the sports information director at New York Tech when Chris and I played there, and my brother Brian as well. But, you know, usually when you get a sports information director, you don't, you know, he's the guy responsible for the information for every single sport. We were lucky when we were there that we had a guy that was a former player at the program, so he loved baseball. Tommy, if I remember, your office was right next to the baseball office, wasn't it?
It was for a couple years, and then they moved me to the other side of the gym.
I guess maybe Hirsch got.
Oh, in that little closet over there.
Yeah, the little closet over there. Thanks for reminding me.
But, so it was good for us. So the big thing is, in his job, he was very involved in the baseball program then, and then now he's the sports information director at UNC Wilmington in North Carolina, and he is also very involved with the baseball program there. I know, like, anytime we have players or we go to him, and, you know, he's basically almost like on the staff down there, you know. So he's a baseball junkie. But Tom, thank you for coming on. I hope everybody gets to see your personality on this because it was always very unique.
That's the first time I ever heard that before.
Yeah. Well, you know, you were an angry man back then in a good way. I really liked it because you're kind of a wise ass like me. So I you and I get along great. So, and, you know, the one thing the audience should know is, you know, Tommy was very involved in our regional and World Series run last year. He was texting me every single game. He was extremely proud. Like, I was surprised. I think he was more excited than we were that we did what we did last year. And when we went to the World Series, you know, our first night out to dinner, who was there? Tommy Reardon came out with the staff. So he's a big supporter. We really appreciate it as well. But thanks for coming on the show, Tom.
Thanks for having me. And like I said, I was ecstatic last year with the run you guys had and watching it online. You know, we were going through our own run in the last 2 weeks of the season to make our conference tournament and then to get to the NCAAs. But I kind of got some of our guys pretty hyped up about you guys because they were asking, well, how'd Tech do today? You know, what's going on? And it was pretty cool to have them follow along too. For a program that means so much to me and gave me so much.
No, I know. Yeah, you were going through a regional run yourself. I think you were going back and forth from that site to our game and, you know, following back and forth. And I think you guys had a real heartbreaker, right? That one game.
Let's not talk. We're not going to talk about that. Let's just talk the fact that we got.
We're going to open up old wounds.
You already have. We were sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings. I knew you guys were going to Cary. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the the different host sites. And I think NC State hosted as well as Chapel Hill. I said, I want to go to either one of those, so I have a quick drive to Cary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there. It's taking forever. State goes up. We don't make that one. I'm like, great. They're going to send us to Ole Miss, or they're going to send us down to Florida or something like that. Literally, the next one popped up. It was Chapel Hill. I'm like, all right, it's my last chance, or else I'm going to have to watch streaming. And to see our logo pop up there where we got to play, you know, North Carolina was pretty cool. And the first thing I thought of was, hey, great, we're in, although I already knew that. But, man, I really hope they don't play at the same time we do so I can go watch them play.
Right.
I haven't had an opportunity to watch Tech play in person, you know, since they came down here in 2008 for 3 games. Other than that, I've not been able to see the guys play live since I left.
Well, now that you how long have you been at UNC Wilmington now? Isn't it like
20-something?
Amazing.
I got down here.
Joined in the fall of '99.
Yeah, September '99. After 2 hurricanes rolled through.
It's just surprising to me that you can hold a job that long.
It makes 2 of us.
I guess they like your personality as well. But
I don't know about that. I think I've kind of entrenched myself. I lock myself in the office pretty much every day, so they can't come and tell me I have to go.
Well, let's start at the beginning. You're telling us that you went to well, first of all, you went to Chaminade, and I want to talk about, you went there for a year and then you ended up going to St. Agnes. And I think I hear about St. Agnes all the time with some of the people who were around, like Roe, I guess, like Angelo, right?
And, well, Hirsch also.
Hirsch, yeah. And from Tommy all these years. Explain to the Long Island people what St. Agnes was a big name that no longer exists. What happened there?
In, I guess it was 87, the diocese was having some financial problems, and they had to sell St. Agnes High School. Well, they sold it to Chaminade, the brothers of Chaminade, and that was one of our big rivals. And they renamed it Kellenberg, and they've had a lot of success since then. But St. Agnes was a special place. It's a great basketball school led by Frank Morris.
Who wound up coaching at Tech, right?
Pardon?
Didn't he coach at Tech?
Yes, he did. Yep. But he produced like Billy Donovan, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and some other guys that played in the Final Four. A.J. Winder played with the Celtics. Bernard Woodside played at LSU. Great basketball program going back to the 60s and the 50s. And baseball there was always very strong, exceptionally strong. Hirsch played there in high school. Mike McCabe. I played with Mike McCabe in high school at St. Agnes. And we had some great teams. My junior year was probably the best team I ever been a part of.
And where was it located, though? What town?
It was in Uniondale. It was the old –
where Kellenberg is now.
Yes. It used to be Maria Regina. Oh. And then in 83, the school moved to Maria Regina when the diocese, consolidated the schools.
I can actually throw a baseball from my house to there, Jim.
Yeah. I haven't been on campus at Kellenberg.
I don't think they'd let you in.
I'm fine with that too.
I tell you what, this guy has so much information. And
that's
so
proud
that's so
of
all of his institutions. I love it.
Doesn't it fit him though? Right? Here he is. Here's the other tidbit. He was the first SID that Tech ever had, by the way. So he started that role.
I was very fortunate. A guy by the name of Mike DeLuise, who was in charge of university relations, he came over from Hofstra, where they had a full sports info staff. And he pushed and got a full-time position, hired me, and kind of launched, what I'm doing to this day.
That job, really, you have to have such a passion for numbers, right? I would assume, or like with the stats, it seems like a tough gig.
It is and it isn't. I love competition. I'm a competition junkie. I loved competing when I was a player. I loved competing, as an administrator, and just being around the different sports. I also work with volleyball, men's golf, swimming, and diving, and beach volleyball at UNCW. And to watch all those athletes compete, it's something that's amazing to see.
Yeah, I've always noticed that about you. You have an admiration for people who have that type of commitment, right?
I really do. Our swimmers, those kids get in the pool at 5:30 in the morning. I'm not even thinking about getting up at 5:30 in the morning, and they do it day after day, and they work and they get the best out of them as they can.
Well, it is a cool thing that every single sport, you're part of their championship run in essence. And, it's.
Yeah. I also like telling the stories of these student athletes who work hard. I had a story we went up on our website earlier this pandemic about a kid out of Westchester, Pennsylvania, who wears number 35. A middle infielder wearing 35 is not normal. So I figured he was the last one in. He got assigned it and all that. But turns out he wears it for a cousin who passed away from cancer when he was younger. And in talking to him about that, I then find out that the rest of the family, all athletes in college, they all wear 35 in remembrance of their cousin or their brother.
Right.
So stuff like that I can kind of tell the story of and bring some exposure to, I really enjoy that.
So when you said middle infielder wearing 35, I thought of somebody from our area. Who do you got? Let's see if you know who I'm talking about. A Northeast guy, big leaguer, wore number 35 in the major leagues.
I have no idea.
All right, I take it back. You don't know
Mike
anything.
Mussina?
No, the guy, St. John's product, shortstop, major leaguer for a long time.
Oh, Rich Aurelia.
Yes.
He won 35? Right.
He did, yeah.
Good Lord.
I should have been an SID.
No, you just can read.
No, you only like it. Didn't know. See, he'd be a great guy for a resource of little shortstops. That's what his.
Well, he wasn't little, but he was a.
You know what, Jimmy? You're the
Northeast shortstop.
You're the best shortstop I know who got DH'd for.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
That's still one of my favorite stories of all time.
Tommy's referring to when Jimmy was in high school and wasn't allowed to hit, and if you ever saw a video of Jimmy hitting when he was 13 years old, you understand why.
You're a tough critic. I love that video, though. Came a long way. So listen, this is Tommy. I bring you up every single year. It's one of my favorite stories. And I don't know if you remember it, but when we were there in 97, 98, I don't know what the numbers were, but we had to be close to leading the nation in walks. So Tommy, being a little bit of a wise guy, he told our team we weren't allowed to call the baseball a ball anymore. We had to call it a strike.
Yeah.
So he said, throw me that strike over there. Who's got the bag of strikes? So I used that my whole life. It's funny when you take certain things from certain people and it withstands the test of time. And that's one of them. So,
well, it's about, I've learned over the years, especially down here, it's about approach. If you go up, you guys know, if you go up to San Diego, I have to get a hit, you're not going to get a hit.
Right.
But if you go up there with, I want to hit the ball hard, that's something you can control. You can't control the hit or the error because you're just putting the ball in play.
Yep.
And maybe that was the first time I really kind of thought about it. But if you go up with the right mindset to do something, you have a better chance to do it.
That's spot on. Excuse me. That's exactly what it is. It is a mindset,
Yeah. We had a basketball coach, Brad Brownell, who's now the head basketball coach at Clemson. He always said you have to be passionate about the process. Don't get hung up on results. Results are going to happen. But if you get passionate about the process, that's going to make you better. And eventually you're going to hit that result.
I mean, I think that's everything, right? That if you can do that and love the process, that's.
Well, what did that become? That became a cliche, right? Because even we used to use it, and people tried to, unfortunately, throw it back at you in a negative, I guess.
Well, the last couple of years, it's very overused, but there's no better way to describe it.
Right. I mean, it's just
it is what it is.
That's the ingredient. The I guess the main ingredient in this whole.
It's all about working hard.
Yeah.
That's what passionate about the process is.
And it's everything, like you said. It's not just athletics. It's anything you do that you want to be successful at. There is a process to it, and you have to be committed to it, and you have to be able to be dedicated and also, so locked into that process so that you can maintain your level of success, right, or continue to grow.
Well, a lot of it also comes too is during injuries, where a student athlete's trying to get back on the court or on the field. A lot of them are like, I have to get back by this day. And all they see is the end result. Well, right. How about we just first work on this? Let's work on getting this ankle stabilized. Let's bring strength to that before we worry about hitting a 3-run homer. A lot of people get so caught up in the future that they forget about the present right now.
Right, and what it takes to get to what it is you want to get back to, right?
Right.
That's the biggest thing. That's what makes a good coach is just keeping the kids reminded of what the sacrifice and being entrenched in it and what it takes and keeping them motivated to do it. That's our battle every single day.
Right. And it's so great because what's amazing is anytime you talk to anybody who's involved in sports at a high level, they understand that concept, right? Mm-hmm. And the challenge that comes, the individual challenge that you have to apply to yourself so that you can come out there on a daily basis to do all the things that it takes to be good.
Right. It's about hitting off a tee every day. to get rid of a dropping your hands or doing some kind of drill, staying on top of the ball. You can't just say you're going to do it and go out and do it. There's a couple people who can do that, but those are,
very rare.
Hall of Famers.
But from our experience, even playing with those guys and hearing about those guys, the best players in the world end up being really hard workers. Like, like an Alex Rodriguez, he's probably the most talented guy of all time, potentially. And they had to kick him out of the cage with the Yankees. Like he was banned from practicing. He practiced too much. So Manny Ramirez, the same thing with his swing, they were saying. Obsessed with hitting, obsessed.
Right.
So, and there's a guy that looks like a dummy out there. He's doing bonehead mistakes, but he was so in tune with his swing and what he did. So it's a big misconception. And I'm wearing got my Jordan T-shirt or shirt on because just
Did you watch that last night?
Yes, I was inspired. That was insane. That whole 10 episodes. I wish I had seen it when I was a kid, because I know. I mean, we all had that mentality that he had. Maybe not at that level. We had a little bit, obviously, but to see it, I loved how he just was so spiteful towards people and the competition, and he was motivated.
Always had that chip on his shoulder.
Yes, that's the word. That's the word. I loved watching it,
especially in a world today where everybody's friends now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a little different. I mean, every sport you play, there's not that edge. Like, that guy across from you is, I'm trying to destroy him, on the field of competition. That's kind of not the same type of approach any longer, if you really think about it. I mean, everybody's friendly. Even like I remember playing towards the end of my career in the minor leagues, and guys would always want to like talk before, BP and all that. Unless I really knew you, I didn't want to have a conversation with you. I wanted to, because you were on the other team. You weren't my friend. We were opponents.
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm with you. Give me a guy or a girl with athlete with a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to succeed as best they can. I have no problem with that. I'll take 24 of those type athletes.
Yeah, we see it with our guys. We'll be going on the bus to a game, and I'll bring up the pitcher from, say, Pace University. And
that's my friend.
And they'll go, he's not throwing today, so-and-so. And they have all the information of the other team. And I go, where are you getting this information? Oh, the guys on the team. I said, you sons of bitches better not be giving information to your friends. They give each other information.
Yeah, they have no idea how to help themselves win.
No, they're helping the other team.
Yeah.
And it drives me up a wall. And then you see after games, they're saying that each other are studs on like Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's a stud.
Yeah.
Dude, you just played that guy and he beat you enough. But that's just the way it is now.
Yeah, it's just it's the environment. Period. I mean,
it's tough to say when it comes to athletics or competition. I think there's a good hate.
Yeah.
You can be friends with someone.
It doesn't make you a bad person that you want to beat.
It doesn't.
Beat
but
the
the
guy
moment you
across
say
from
hate, a lot of people are like, well, you're a bad person, you're a bad influence, that kind of stuff. And that's not true. After a game, I know someone on the team, hey, good game. See you tomorrow.
Yep.
We're going to play again tomorrow. I'm going to get you tomorrow.
We have we're friends with a lot of guys we coach, but man, I want to beat them bad for that 9 innings.
There's nothing wrong with that. For those 3 hours you're on the field competing, as long as you don't take it to a degree where it actually becomes a problem.
No, exactly. So I want to get into some, now that you're at a very, very, established Division I program. You guys win a lot. I want to talk about that. But before that, you were at New York Tech when the program went under for a year. We spoke to Scott
right when
Hatton.
It was starting to be at its heyday also. Though.
Yeah, you were there at the top. Then the program went down for a year, and then it came back, and you stayed through it. Let's talk about that run there of 4 years of who you were playing with, how good it was, and whatever happened. Because we had Hatton on, he explained it, but he left.
Yeah, I played with Scotty in I guess it was 90. Maybe it was 91. we were loaded. It was player for player. Amazing to watch these guys play. I look at it here at UNCW, and in my time, we've had, I'll say, at least 74 guys go play professional baseball.
Since you've been at UNCW?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just kind of look at it, like, we'll have 6 guys go 1 year, maybe 4, and then another 6, that kind of stuff. And I talked to Scott, a bit, and we were talking about the 1991 team that had 12 guys go pro off that.
Wow.
And I look at my UNCW program here, and we have the same thing. And I kind of look at it like, I now realize just how good New York Tech was, because those are the same numbers we're putting out here at UNCW. I got to play with Paul Bruno. He was an All-American catcher, still the best catcher I've ever seen. Alan Watson, two-way guy, double All-American. He was an All-American as a pitcher and a DH. Mike Fernandez.
Shortstop, right?
Yeah. It was Jimmy Whitman, John Urcioli. It was just the talent. I didn't get to play much. Those guys were so far ahead of me and so much better than me. I left I went to Mount St. Mary's in Maryland for a year and a half. And I thought I had a pretty good situation there, but I wanted to see more competition. I wanted to be around a better baseball program. So I transferred to Tech, and I knew I wasn't going to play as much as those guys. Those guys were just, way up here. And to be around them, I tell you, with the coaching staff of Bobby O'Brien, Hirsch, Mike McCabe, Pat Short, Larry Minor.
Mm-hmm.
Larry was awesome. He was awesome. I learned so much, not only about baseball, but just about how to go about whatever you do. I always try to stay in the dugout by the coaches. That's where I wanted to be. First of all, I'd be one of the first people, if they did need someone to come off the bench, they'd see me. But it's mostly just to listen to them, how they went about a game. And they were always 3 innings ahead of everybody else.
That's what I love hearing about, because so often kids sit in the bench and they just think, they're either sulking or just disappointed they're not playing, or don't see the value in just being so engaged and listening to what the coaches are saying. Mm-hmm. How much you can take out of that, and how much that can actually prepare you for when your moment does come, or when your opportunity does come to play. Because I reflect back when I played, I sat for 2 years, but I sat there and I listened. And I know listening those 2 years in the dugout were instrumental in me being able to go out to the field and actually be able to fit in.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does prepare you listening to what they were saying. To this day, that coaching staff, I still talk to Hirsch, and it was just something different about that staff, that they really let you dictate what you were going to do. My thing was, maybe I wasn't going to play a lot, but when I did get an opportunity, maybe something was on the line, and I had to make sure I was ready to play. Doing that, listen to them talk about being 3 innings ahead, that's where I kind of learned, hey, 3rd or 4th inning, 5th inning, go check out what they have in the bullpen. Even before the game, see what kind of arms they have in the bullpen, and get yourself ready to hit maybe 2 innings before. Go down to the cages, go hit off a tee, go take some soft toss, do something. Because if my name did get called, I want to make sure I was ready to go.
Chris, you didn't go to the camp when you were young.
No.
Obviously. You didn't go to the New York Tech camp. And you know how nuts I am about baseball. That camp was so intense that I didn't really want to go back. And it was that intense. But here's, even on this podcast, guys have said, oh, you guys in 97, that team was good. And I'm like, no, we weren't good. But
we didn't win.
Well, right. But what I'm trying to say is that when you talk about the past, teams are hyped up and you always remember the good. That aura of being 12, 13 years old in that camp and seeing John Urcioli, like I even knew as a young kid, like who he was a shortstop, and he was a big kid. I mean, he seemed like a big guy. You know, I was 12, but the aura about those guys, and you would have like the Rice University coach or something like that nature, full uniform. They had the cool hats with the eyelets in it. I mean, I was taking it all in. Like, it was so legit that when, you know, a young player wanted to play, that was like going to Miami to them. It was huge. And so, and now, like, for Tommy's team, when he first gets there, like, you have a first round pick and Alan Watson, like this, that's not hype. Those guys it was legit baseball. What a culture that it'll never be like that again anywhere. But that's why they got the players too, because the young guys were seeing this, because that camp was the top 5 camp in the country, I think, at the time.
I went to that camp myself. A lot of us who played for Hirsch did, but we also played against each other a lot in high school. You know, I got to face Watson in high school. You know, that was pretty cool. I used to work that camp, and I still work camps down here. And I kind of bring the same. I want to teach them. I want it to be an academy. I don't want it to be a camp. I'm not a counselor.
Right.
I'm not going to help a kid. You know, I want to be a coach, teach them what I was taught. You know, to kind of pay it forward. What I was taught by. Now back in the day, it was guys like Mike Chesney, you know, who was a catcher. Al Ashkenazi, you know, who's actually in Greensboro now with a hitting cage.
Down to carry.
Those guys. Yep. Hank Iverlino, Jack DeMayo, those guys who taught me. Mike Conklin, those guys taught me, and I had a blast. I didn't start playing baseball until I was probably like 10 years old, 11 years old. But I went to the camp, and the first day I was like, my God, this is the best damn thing going.
It was. And like you said, like all the instructors go on to play pro ball. What camp has that right now?
Yeah.
Like, you could have college kids working it. Maybe one of them goes on and does something. It was like every name you say is like a legendary guy in our record books. And the funny thing is, when I was being recruited out of Suffolk Community, and you hear New York Tech, and I'm going to like campuses like Marist, beautiful campus, nice program. And once I heard New York Tech, I was like, really? I'm in. I don't even know anything. Like, it was just, as a baseball junkie, the aura was there. It's like, this is amazing. I'm going there.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a question in my head.
The same way in high school. You know, we'd be playing Holy Trinity, and up comes Hirsch in that royal blue shiny jacket.
Yep.
I was like, oh, man, Hirsch is here.
We're trying to bring that back.
What, that jacket?
That satin with the same logo. We have to go navy now. But because, you know, Hirsch had his number retired in 19. 19 and 19. And his wife wore that jacket, and it was like brand new. The kids were like, it looked brand new.
Okay.
And everybody in the team was like, holy cow, we got to get that. So we're trying to eventually bring the old satin jacket back.
Well,
what do you guys have?
I like the fact they brought the name New York Tech back.
Oh, that's tremendous.
That's who we are. That's what the program is. It's New York Tech.
Right. That was one of the biggest travesties when they went from Tech to NYIT.
I understand.
It was like the Gestapo. I feel like the department became like the Gestapo. If you ever said Tech, it was like you were like shunned. It was like,
well, that all comes from the top down,
right?
You know, and being in college athletics, you know, here for 20 years, you understand. Sometimes people make decisions because they don't get it. But I'm glad the AD and you guys brought back New York Tech, because that's what it's known as. I understand NYIT.
I think the biggest reason I want to go back to the World Series is because I need to see New York Tech on that wall and that logo everywhere. And it killed me that it said NYIT on the outfield wall. I didn't want any pictures taken of that.
Yeah. Well, that's an NCAA thing.
Oh, no, they had to. That was our name, you know, unfortunately.
It's an NCAA. They have a style guide for each school, what they're going to call them. Like, they still call us on occasion UNC-W.
Ugh.
No, exactly. We're UNCW. That's our name. Or it's NC Wilmington. It's just stuff that you have to keep emphasizing, you know. Last year at the Chapel Hill Regional, they had NC Wilmington. It was taking up like 3/4 of the screen on a score bug. I'm like, hey, let's make it easy for you guys. And let's just go UNCW.
Right.
Corporate said this and this. I said, here's my cell number. Tell corporate to give me a call.
Right.
Trust me, put up UNC. They put up, and they used UNCW. It went well, and I never got a call from corporate.
It's we're gonna get into the UNCW, but
look at this.
We get Zoom bombed here.
Oh my gosh, Lou Petrucci.
What's up, TR? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Come on, man. I miss talking to you. You're the best.
So,
I know I am.
Lou, one
Yes,
of
sir.
your podcast has been very well known throughout Long Island as being one of the funniest podcasts we had.
Wow.
So
I'm glad I'm a comedian instead of a baseball coach.
You arrived in this Zoom at the perfect time because I love your story about how Tommy pitched in the 90s. He threw in the
God.
90s. Tell
Yes, he
everybody. Because we're at the end of his college career here. We're moving on to UNCW here. So, but go ahead.
Oh, listen, Tom threw in the 90s, 1990, 1991, 1992, 1993. Tom threw in the 90s. It was unbelievable. Hey, Jim, it's great because, Tom's, as you would expect, Tom's heavily involved in the UNC Wilmington program. He's been a volunteer assistant since he got down there. So Zach Clark, Tom, awards for you too, Long Island Collegians. It's the last Long Island Collegian shirt around. But anyway, Tom, Chris, Zach Clark and Ty Blankmeyer are down there, and I guess I don't know what happened. Tom, asked Tom about when he pitched in the 90s. And then Tom tells him the story, and then brings me into it. He goes, yeah, I'm pitching one day in New York Tech. A guy hits a bomb. Wow, like 400 feet.
It was a parking lot.
What?
Parking lot down the left field line bomb.
No, that bounced. The parking lot, I think, was Fenway, little Fenway over there in the corner.
No, it bounced off the 400 building.
Oh, it did? All right, okay. Well, that's bouncing it. It's not bad. So Tommy's all mad. And he yells at me, Lou, give me a ball. I said, Tom, I'm waiting for that one to land first.
Yeah, because you were umpiring his games, right?
Oh, when I first met Tom, he coached a team in it was in Baldwin, at Baldwin Park. And what was the name of that team you ran in Stam Usual?
Well, that's the Stags.
Yes, the Rockville Center Stags, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That was a good team. I loved umpiring those games because it was Tom Reardon yelling at the world. If the kid made an error, Reardon got in his face. It was good stuff.
Man, you bring up that hearing that mascot, the Stags. I forgot about Tommy. He knew every mascot in the country. I remember back when I was playing, I would ask you any school, you told me their mascot. Can you still do that?
Well, Jimmy, when you were playing, there's only about 40 schools. So I didn't have to know too many.
Wow, we're getting old.
I could probably name them. It'd probably take me a couple seconds longer to name different ones.
Yeah, I always know you had that skill. You know what's amazing? The kids in their summer program, they go to these D3s and they say, oh, I got a letter from, I don't know. Never heard of half these schools. There's so many schools now.
A lot of schools like in Pennsylvania, I'm hearing of that I've never heard of before.
Yes. Yep. No idea. So, Lou, thanks for joining us. We're
That's all I got? That's all I got?
No. No, you're staying. Chime in.
Listen,
No.
I've been kicked out of a lot of Zooms. So
I just wanted to officially welcome you. That's all.
One of my favorite Zooms, But Tom, tell Jimmy and Chris about, listen, you guys get involved. Tom's seen a lot of good players in the CAA. And one of my favorite Tom Reardon lines is, we're UNC Wilmington. We play in the CAA. What's your line, Tom?
That's why people hate us.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Go ahead, Tom. What's your line? We just play in the CAA. We're not really a CAA team. Is that correct? Yeah. Is that accurate?
Well, I say we are a member of the CAA, but I think we want to carry ourselves with the Chapel Hill, the NC State, Arizona State, Kentucky, LSU. That's who we want to compete with. And that's who we recruit against.
Right.
Quite honestly.
That's having a standard. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's keep in mind, too, that UNCW is relatively unknown. I know it because of Tommy. And I was trying to give him players over the years. And there was times where you guys were top 25 in the country.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people don't know that about UNCW, unfortunately. I don't know why.
I'm not doing my job then.
But up here, we don't realize how good. And I would tell the kids, look it up, and they'd be like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, it's we're in a state with, I think there's like 19 Division I programs.
Right.
And then heart of it. You're in
that's
the heart of the SEC, ACC, right? I mean,
we're in the middle of baseball country, man. I mean, last year, every one of our midweek games was against a team that went to the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And those are midweek games. Those, that's Chapel Hill State, Duke won't play us, Campbell, Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, is 62 miles from here. And
you just recently started playing them again, right? Because
we've always played them. We did take 2 years off in the early 2000s when we had a little bit of a rivalry problem.
Skirmish?
Not really skirmish. We'd go there. Our guys get thrown out. They'd come here. Their guys would get thrown out. So it was kind of it was the umpires. So it was
awesome. It was awesome. In other words, that's what you want.
It's not that awesome when you're going into a weekend series without your center fielder and maybe your second baseman. In the CAA, if you get kicked out of a game, you're suspended for the next game.
Yeah, that's us too.
Okay.
That's pretty standard, I think, everywhere. But I played for the Carolina Mudcats, and I remember I didn't even realize, and we lived in Raleigh, and you have NC State, Duke, and UNC. Aren't they like right on top of each other there?
More or less, yeah.
It was always good.
You got Wake Forest right down the road.
Wake Forest too.
East Carolina going the other way.
Yeah, it was interesting, and it was good for the guys when we went out. The college was in season.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Bro, that's where I took your team down for the Texas Hold'em tournament.
Yeah, Tommy. Legend goes that Jimmy took down the whole AA, San Diego Padres AA pro team in
World Series. He invited me up to their card game because I stayed in the other team's hotel actually for the season, and I took them all down. It was good. Made a couple bucks.
I didn't. My teammates weren't happy with me for bringing them into the game.
Who would be happy losing to a 12-year-old?
But I smiled the whole time.
I'm sure you did.
Tommy, tell us though, Northeast, which you've guys grabbed a lot of good players from Long Island that have impacted your program down there.
Yeah.
You could talk about that, but also just the difference in mentality, the level of baseball. What's the biggest thing that you see?
Down this way, you have a lot of kids whose parents played sports at a competitive level, college level. Last year, of our 35 guys, I think 19 of them had fathers who played professionally or college baseball.
What?
Yeah.
So let's stop right there.
Yeah.
Because we have an audience of kids that obviously play travel baseball.
Yep.
Right. And when you say that, or when I hear that, I automatically think that these kids have a different mentality. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But why is that, Ro? What's our line?
You're a product of your environment.
I mean, this is right up my alley right here. This is where I live. These are the words I live by.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, carry on.
That I think, of course, the weather is a big difference too. Our guys are able to get out. But I'll tell you what about the Northeast kids, they're tough. Hofstra's got some tough kids on their team. They really do. Northeastern's got a program. Every weekend, they got 3 legit professional arms going out there. And Coach Clavin has just picked up in the last 6 years since he's taken over. They're tough at every position. There's a lot more hustle going on up there now for coaches and finding the kids and developing them. Kids we have from the island, Terrence Connolly, who played at Chaminade, and I forgave him for that and still let him come play for us. He is tough as the day is long, man. He comes from a great family. I'll say it, a good program in Chaminade with Sean Manning, another guy who I'll give a tough time. And then another one, Jason Appel, back in the early 2000s. He came from Plainview JFK. He's a kid who could run. He was a smart ass, but he was a tough smart ass. And he had a good career. They both had really good careers here at UNCW.
No, that's good. And I know last year your shortstop went in the first round.
Yeah,
he's a pretty good story, isn't he?
Yeah, he was committed to us as a sophomore. He was a smaller guy, but Coach Hood saw him play, and the kid was, I think he was an 80 runner, and he's the fastest runner in last year's draft. But what he saw was a kid who loved playing the game, went about it the right way, and he came here after turning down the Orioles after being picked in the 17th round. And he talk about Jordan work ethic. Greg Jones got after it. He really did, as do a lot of our guys. But he made such a jump in growth personally as well as physically. That carried him into the first round because he had the chip on his shoulder. You know, the Orioles offered him a certain amount. He said, well, I think I'm worth more. And they said, yeah, right, whatever, good luck. So he went from 17th round to first round.
That is very rare.
Yeah. But he's a hardworking dude, man. He knew he needed to go to college. And our staff has done a great job helping kids mature from high school to go on and playing pro ball.
So he was a 17th rounder at a high school.
Yeah.
Then 3 years later becomes a first round pick.
2 years. He was a draft eligible sophomore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Switch hitter. Could run and sweet swing from both sides of the plate.
So how come, Lou, you never give any players to Tommy? You have no one good enough?
Never.
No, hold on.
If we had a lacrosse program, we'd have 15 guys from Ward Melville.
2008, summer 2008, I sent Stephen Matz down to UNC Wilmington.
You did.
I don't know who, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what happened. I sent him down there. They met Tom Reardon. They met Coach Scaff. And
that was the only one they met.
Nothing to do with that one.
Everybody else was on the road recruiting. And I get a phone call. Coach Scaff's like, hey, you got to get over to school. What's the matter, Coach? We got a kid coming in from your neck of the woods. Go show him around.
That's what volunteer assistants do, Tom. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I called you right away, didn't I? I didn't lie.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Your name is still on my phone, TR, Tom Reardon. That's all I know you by. I don't even put Tom Reardon. It's TR. That's it. You know what I'm saying? What am I supposed to do?
Somehow we lost out on Matz, who actually committed to Coastal Carolina.
That must have bothered you.
It did. But, hey.
Now,
why didn't get him either?
What about Anthony K? What happened? Why you guys weren't on Anthony K?
Didn't even get a call on him.
Oh,
and how about we're playing Princeton? We're playing Princeton a couple years ago.
Oh man!
Kid gets up, couple lasers. I look at the roster. Was it really middle of the game? Lou,
I got that phone call.
Lou,
I was watching online.
Lou, what's the deal? What did I do to you?
Nothing. Listen, he went to Princeton.
I know. So?
He could have went to Wake Forest. I kept him away from Wake Forest.
You don't play Wake Forest.
You don't play midweek?
No.
Oh.
Thanks.
Oh, nothing I can do about that one. If I called you about Ben Brown, you would have laughed at me.
Yeah, I probably would have. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been.
Jim, you know what I do too? Tom has great perspective. How long have you been in the CAA, Tom? At least 20 years now, no?
Yeah, we're a charter member of the CAA.
Well, how about you, though? How many years you been down there involved in the CAA?
20 years.
So you've seen Verlander, right?
Yes. We saw him quite often.
And the Tigers are in the World Series. Somebody's in the World Series, Jim. So I said, kids, listen, I want to talk to you about a guy who says Verlander's not that good. So I get Tom Reardon on speakerphone, have him talk to the class. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. Dedication, getting better. Tom, tell him about Verlander, what happened in the CAA.
his last start, we knocked him out in about 3 innings. He hit 5 guys. We scored 8 runs. The next day, he left the team.
Where was he? Old Dominion?
He's Old Dominion, yeah.
What do you mean he left the team?
He walked out of the dugout, jumped the fence, got in a car, and waited for the MLB draft.
Holy crap! And his brother ended up going
on a high note.
He hit 5 guys. Our guys, that's the thing. Our guys weren't like, all right, that's Justin Verlander. Hey, great, high five. We're gonna go and we're gonna compete every pitch, and our guys did. They dug in. Neil Eichhorn, another kid out of Pennsylvania, he took like 99 off the shoulder, and it bounced off him over the netting behind home plate. I don't think he cried, but he went to first base, and then he maybe cried. I don't know, but our guys were locked in, and they didn't try to do too much. You know, they said, "Hey, go ahead, throw 99. We're gonna knock it backside, and you can go back up third." Our guys were so locked in that weekend. That weekend, William and Mary threw 2 guys, Bill Bray and Chris Ray, who were both in the bigs.
Yep.
VCU had Justin Orenduff, who played with the Dodgers, didn't get to the bigs. Clay Meredith pitched for VCU, who got to the bigs with Boston. That was a 2004 tournament. And you talk about pitching, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And our guy who threw, Zach Kimball, should have gotten drafted, had one of the best scenes I've ever seen of a college ball player.
Hey, now that you're talking about the draft, I mean, and you obviously being, you know, so involved in the baseball program there and seeing the history of it and all these guys, like you said before, you had over 74 guys get drafted, right? And we just had a guy taken in the first round last year. And now you see this round of this situation where we're going to only have 5 rounds. Like, how do you think it's going to impact all these guys? A lot of guys that are from your neck of the woods.
How's it going to impact us?
You, I mean, that whole area, high school kids. Like, what are your thoughts?
I'll tell you what. It's unfortunate that it's dropping to 5 rounds. I don't think it's a valid reason that the owners have given. We have a chance to really benefit from it. We got 2 pitchers, our number 1 and number 2, who could easily go, but I don't know if they will, go in the top 5 rounds. And we got some seniors coming back who, if they don't sign as free agents, they're going to step in, and they're already all conference guys as it is right now. For the high school kids, I mean, there's such a difference in signing bonuses.
Right.
The sign for $100,000, I think, is ridiculous out of high school, because you can go to college and you get closer to your degree, you mature. Chances are you're going to get drafted higher. But at the same time, what I do see is very similar to what the NBA does. The NBA is 2 rounds of draft. That allows the guys who would normally go in rounds 3 through 9, they can now pick what organization is a better fit for them.
Right.
So I think that could help some guys.
See, I don't know how you could possibly have info. It's such a crapshoot. You're in a herd of players. We've been talking about this. If you tell me you can go to 30 teams, first of all, anyone that tells you I'm not going to the Indians because Lindor is the shortstop has no idea how it works, and that guy is not in your way. There's 15 other guys in your way. And if you're as good as him, guess what? You're going to go to second base, or you're going to get traded and be someone else's shortstop.
But you got to remember, these days, there's so much information out there on the rest of the organization. You can legitimately say, hey, I'm a third baseman. Looking at these guys, looking at the organization or rosters, I know I'm better than him. This guy's been in the same level for 5 years. He's probably going to be gone. I think the guys can make more informed decisions.
I think what's going to happen, I thought about it, and Chris, I didn't tell you about this. I think that these guys might have their agents call these teams pre-draft or right when they're making a decision and almost get some assurances like, hey, I'm going to be here definitely for 2 years, or you're putting me in high A to start. Like, I need to be on this roster if you want me, because this team's offering me a double A spot. Or
I think that's so funny you said that, because that's I don't know if any of you guys have read the book Lenny Dykstra, House of Nails.
Yep. He
talks about that, how when the Mets drafted him in the 13th round, I believe, and they offered somewhere around there, and I guess they only offered him $7,000 or $8,000. Turned it down, decided he was going to go to college. Pressed his college coach to send him to the Jayhawk League, which is, I guess, was like unheard of for a high school kid to go to Jayhawk League before he even got to college. Goes there, starts tearing it up, and the Mets call him back, and they doubled the offer. And he effectively essentially takes it, but he says to them, "I'll take the offer, but you're not sending me the rookie ball. You got to send me the A ball," because he didn't want. He said he didn't want to be like every other high school kid in the country and go to rookie ball. So that's very similar.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen.
I didn't even think about that. I mean, that's a very good possibility that could happen.
Because you're talking about the sixth rounder is a $300,000 bonus.
Yeah.
So now that guy's getting $20,000. You better. How do you negotiate with that guy? You got to put him in double A or something, or high A, whatever.
You got to fast track him.
Well, especially since now the guy's going to be a year older.
Right. And I think a junior is coming back next year, but he's still 22.
Yeah.
And if I'm an organization, I don't want a 22-year-old.
Right.
So I'm going to treat you like a senior, even though it's going to be very interesting. Lou, what do you think?
Jim, you see kids like going to play for $20,000 when they know they get $300,000 the next year. I don't see a lot of kids. I think college baseball is a wonderful experience for the college baseball player. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you're going to tell kids, like, especially in New York Tech, and listen, go sign for $20,000. What you're not going to play this year. You're going to lose your college eligibility. You can't play, and college baseball, you're going to play 50 some odd games next year, right? And I don't know, you got to take your chances. $20,000 is like $12,000, isn't it?
The same thing. You got to talk about chances. You got some guys who maybe had some injuries in their careers, or you know what? Some guys just don't like college,
right?
And they want to get started.
Now it's all online. How hard can that be now? Yeah, the thing called Chegg. They type in the question, and the website gives them the answer. It's
right, but that's not everywhere, Lou. That might be the case up in the Northeast, but down in this area, we're going to have kids on campus.
Yeah. If you're a borderline draft pick and you may never get picked again, you better go. That's what we've been saying. If you're a big stud, then you roll the dice. But we don't have many of them.
But Jim, how many rounds do you think they're going to have next year? I mean,
I think at most 20.
I think 20 is going to be the number forever moving forward.
Do you think they're still going to have that $20,000 offer there for those kids that don't get drafted in the top 20 rounds? They can offer them $10,000.
Well, it's not. You don't go automatically get 20. That's the max you can get.
That's the max.
Yeah, you can sign up for 1,000 still.
Oh God.
Which they're going to do.
Oh, they will. Yeah.
Well, the seniors aren't getting 20. They're getting 5,000, 10, 2,000.
Well, not seniors might get more because they can go back. They still have that year of eligibility.
Yeah.
So they can get that. They'll be probably more inclined to get that 20,000.
We have a couple guys on our team based on they had a redshirt injury in the past. Then they get the Corona year back. So they now go by doctor.
That's all right. We need doctors and lawyers.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, let's make a deal while we're on the phone here. How good is summer baseball in North Carolina? How good is summer baseball there?
At what level?
16, 17U level. How good is that?
It's good. Most of the best talented kids are going to go play for the Canes or the Dirtbags and that kind of stuff.
And we played. I don't know if we played the good Dirtbag team last year. We played one of them.
There's like 100 of them.
I know, there's a million of them. How about this? Let's make a deal. You send us a couple of good players, and I'll send you a couple of good players. Fair enough, right?
I got no one to send up there for summer ball.
Yeah, you just send him to Georgia. Send him down south, and we send him back to North Carolina. We don't need him forever. Just need him for a couple of weeks.
And they'll be prepared for college because they're playing for Lou. Lou's the best guy. That's why we put him with that age group. He's the best.
It's only fair.
He gets you ready for a psycho college coach.
He wants to work a deal. We've got no one from Ward Melville yet. That's a great deal.
He sent you Steven Matz, guy pitching the World Series. He's got home runs as a pitcher. I mean, what
did you guys give him a walk-on spot? You told him he could walk on? Did him a favor?
No. I'm pretty sure we offered full boat.
I think you did. Yeah, I did give him a full ride.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about Coastal Carolina when he was a sophomore.
Yeah, they have a great program down there. They really do. You know, their administration's bought in completely to baseball. They got a $16 million stadium. It's incredible, and Coach Gilmore and his staff do a nice job. They really do. We love playing against them. We have some great games.
Well, I think Steven, when they won the national championship, I think Steven still contacted the assistant coach that recruited him. He still talks to him all the time. I know Gilmore even flew up to Long Island to watch him pitch one day on a Thursday.
I bet.
Well, they got a big budget.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, and deservedly so.
So, Tommy, before we wrap up, I think the one thing we got to talk about your pitching arsenal when you pitched. So
that's messed up, Jim.
Lou, can you tell us about it?
Let me tell you something. Hirsch was the master at mixing and matching, just like Ed Blankmeyer was. And he would bring Tom into the right situation at the right time. So when Tom threw in the 90s, yes, it was 1990, 91, 92, and 93.
You had a front row seat.
Tom had an interesting mix of pitches.
He had a knuckleball.
Yeah, I did. I threw a knuckleball, but I also had a tremendous breaking ball. At least to me, it was tremendous.
So that's what I want to talk about the most, though, is the knuckleball. How often did you feature it?
Depending on what the situation was, to be honest with you.
Who was catching you?
John Riley.
John Riley.
Yeah.
Christ the King.
Yep.
He I didn't want to throw it too often because I didn't know where the hell it was going. I really didn't. We had a lot of freshmen on that team, too, in the infield. So you kind of wanted to keep the ball off the ground because if it was on the ground, there's a great chance there was going to be a runner on base. But I wasn't a pitcher. I became a pitcher my senior year. I was throwing BP. Hirsch is like, you do a great job throwing strikes. Run your ass down to the bullpen and start throwing. And that's what I said, okay, but I just wanted to play. I just wanted to get on the field any way possible. And I enjoyed it. I really did.
You know, Tommy.
Lou, what would happen today if you took a kid who never pitched on your summer team and you said to him, hey, you throw strikes, why don't you get down to the bullpen and get ready to pitch in the game? You think you get a positive response or what?
No, there'll be 2 phone calls, one to you and one to Jimmy. And then after they'll get the answer, like they call Brian Gels, you know what I mean? That's what would happen, you know. But I think the right player has to have the right attitude, you know. And I remember Tom, you know, we talked about it before with the Rockville Center Stags. Tom had the right attitude, you know. You came in as a catcher, right, Tom?
I did.
Yeah.
And having Pete Polis and Paul Bruno ahead of me kind of changes some career plans, you know.
Well, but Tom, wasn't there a time at New York Tech where every catcher was drafted? And then
I stopped it.
Again, I don't want to. I didn't want to lead into that, Tom. You know, but you know, Mike McCabe, the Caber takes credit for teaching you the knuckleball.
No.
Caber wants to take the credit. You know, Caber.
I know Caber. No. He had nothing to do with the knuckleball. That was just something I started.
You know what I noticed here, Lou? As you mentioned the name McCabe and him having an impact on Tommy's life, it seems like Tommy's not really keen on giving Cabe credit for anything.
I'm not giving Caber anything.
That's not messed up.
You talk about cheating during games, man. He stole about 14 wins.
Oh, 14-0-1. I heard about that for 5 years. He counts on me. He gives me money every year. Make sure you mention that Tom Reardon was 14-0-1 in the 2-week program at the lacrosse field. Tom, you did get cheated. I saw him cheat.
I know.
We got to bring back the New York Baseball Academy at New York Tech again. Guys. No, I'm serious. That was fun.
Chris knows how I feel about that. So.
It's the bane of his existence.
Oh my God, that is blood money. Ugh. But Chris, I'm realizing something. Hearing Tommy talk about his young infield, and Tommy Gaff and I talk about how we kind of hold the record at New York Tech for most errors in a season. I think you're the reason why. Yeah, I think
he is a
harsh. I'm not the one who scorer and play.
No, you were a tough critic. Maybe I didn't make all those errors.
No, you did. Trust me.
I sure did.
Because you were throwing errors. They weren't even ground ball. You can catch the ball, but, man, we had to have a guy backing up the backup.
It was pretty bad. It was, I tell the people all the time that playing shortstop's kind of like quarterback with timing. And my senior year, I got a lot better because Hirsch taught me how to flip the ball over.
It just looked like you got better because I was playing first base mostly, and I was picking everything for you.
Picking it, yeah. I always needed a good picker over there.
Yeah, but Jimmy, what about now New York Tech has a beautiful turf field. Your style of infield play would be awesome on that turf field now.
I don't know. I think it brings everybody together more in talent.
I hate it.
I hate it too.
I hate it. Because if I go out and recruit a kid who can flat out pick it, I want that advantage. I don't want some other guy who's just okay, and being even with him.
Right.
There was, Lou, we coached third base in high school during the same time. And, and in Catholic League, almost every game was on the turf. And I'm sitting right there and I'm watching my guy hit a scorcher that in between hop right next to me to the other team's third baseman, who I know is not talented. And they're just grabbing it. And I'm like, that's supposed to be an error. We earned that. He scorched that ball, and it drives me nuts. And it ruins, some of the drama in the game, the things that can happen.
It does. I mean, Ward Melville, our great home field advantage was the fact that the guy drove the tractor in between third and shortstop every day and created divots that, I get to hide in. You know what I mean? But now it's a turf field now. We haven't played on it this year yet, but I'm nervous. We've lost our home field advantage, but I think for practicing purposes and game preparation, you can really work on a lot of things with feet and mechanics. And, I think it allows kids not to be afraid and how to attack ground balls the right way. Because, down North Carolina, how many bad fields you got down there, Tom?
Bad fields?
Yeah, there's no bad fields in North Carolina.
No, they're pretty immaculate.
Tom, you guys have turf there?
We do. We have a separate turf infield.
Oh, yeah. Keep rub it in.
And your game field's grass, though, right, Tom? The game field.
Yeah. The game field's grass. It is absolutely gorgeous. But we have a turf infield that the university built for us because they took one. We actually had 2 practice fields at one point, and they took one from us to make intramural fields, and they built us a turf infield.
He sent me a video on the phone.
So it's safe to say you don't miss New York.
I miss people. I don't miss New York. But another two, facility-wise, I mean, we're a Division I program, of course, but we have a 14,000 square feet indoor facility that has another entire full-size infield in it.
That's huge.
And our guys get it. Our guys, that's another thing. Our guys really take advantage of being able to hit 24/7, 365. Especially during the summer where, midday it can get to about 105, 106. And they just go into the indoor facility, get the machine going, and they just hit off that. We actually have a fungo machine that our guys set up. And
the fungo man?
Yeah.
The fungo man. Yeah, I've seen that.
Craziest thing. And they just take ground balls all day to backhand or forehand.
I'm the fungo man at New York Tech.
Give you a player too. Hey, Tom, I always say this all the time, we criticize the turf field. I credit Stony Brook's ascension to the College World Series It's the first year they had Joe Nathan Field because they were getting out there in February and practicing, and it was a great winter like it was this winter, you know? Like Jimmy and Chris, how often were you guys on the field all winter up until your season?
A lot. It's actually warmer in February than during the season.
Yeah.
It really is. It's, you know, we don't go out there every day. We get plenty of great days. And then I think, you know, we just got canceled, obviously, this year. This past 3 or 4 weeks have been freezing cold. We've been in our conference finals, and I think the day we would have been in the conference finals potentially, it was 36 degrees here just 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
We're supposed to host our conference tournament. It's going to be 75 to 85 all week.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a good couple days recently, but
we get a lot of rain in January and February. And before we had the indoor facility in the turf field, we couldn't get on the field. So we used to lose a lot of days to weather.
Yeah, it's you. It's really good as a coach, especially, you know, you get your shoes looking nice, and they look nice at the end of practice too. I like that. So, Tom, one more thing.
Yes.
I remember we had a conversation 3 or 4 years ago maybe, and you had gone over the size of the kids on your roster. Yes. And we were talking how it looked like Division I football. And I know that's kind of what I want the people to hear too. Like, even that you said it was kind of your goal. You guys wanted humongous, strong athletes, right?
We, our coaching staff, they prefer athletes. They want to get a big kid, a strong kid, and an athletic kid. And we'll teach them to play a position or multiple positions. That's a great thing about our roster. It is so interchangeable. Our shortstop this year played first base last year. He caught in high school.
Wow.
And we got that all over. You know, Greg Jones, he'll probably be he'll be a middle infielder, maybe a second baseman. If he gets to the bigs, he might even be a center fielder. Mm-hmm. We just got guys that are athletic, and we teach them to play the game. As long as they play hard, they're going to learn the game. And we just can move guys in and out around the lineup, hitting-wise and fielding-wise. But, yeah, we've got a lot of guys who also played football in high school. And that brings the football mentality to our program. They're tougher. They're stronger. But they are bigger.
They have 30. They have 30 guys that are 6 foot or bigger.
Yeah, I mean, here I am walking to dugout 5'6", and it's just I can't see the sun. I might as well be in the middle of a forest. I can't see anything.
I tell you what, being like a short coach at 5'8.5", it stinks when you're teaching a kid at 6'3". You can feel like you're so insignificant to that person. You know, you have to be really strong. That's why people have Napoleon complexes.
You need to work on your self view.
Yes, I have to think of myself a little. Although I don't think Chris and the coaching staff in the office, I think pretty highly of myself, right, guys?
Well, I will tell you one thing about Jimmy. Last year, I'm watching a stream, and there's no commercials between the half inning. So no. I see this little kid walking out to third base with a helmet on.
Jog to third.
You were not jogging. You were walking, Jimmy.
No, I walked back. This is where this is going, right?
Okay. I texted him immediately. I said, Jimmy, you need to run your ass to third base and run back. We're not waiting on you.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up. This is a serious thing. Like, I have never walked back from third base since you texted me that.
Good.
Never.
You should have required a text.
I was new to the college game, so I figured I would just casual stroll back. I would jog out. Maybe you caught me at a bad time. But
I watched for a couple innings. I watched for a couple innings before I do something, because I don't want to catch that one time maybe you did it wrong.
Yeah, I believe you.
I'll watch it for a while before I say something.
I think I had a pulled muscle. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you did.
But since that text, I have never walked back in. So that's how much I respect you, Tommy.
Well, good. I mean, if you want me to be proud of you, I'm not going to be proud that I actually had to make a text to get you to run back to the dugout.
No, listen, I make adjustments. I think that's what
that comes from playing in high school for St. Agnes. Frank Morris, after one of the games, I guess I walked out to the mound and I walked back. And Coach Morris, in the middle of the game, goes, "Come here, Tommy." And I think the world of Coach Morris. I really do. I said, yeah, Coach, what's up? He goes, hey, I didn't come here to watch you walk your damn ass to the mound and back. Well, let's go. We're not waiting on you. And I have run back and forth. I started running top speed, sprinting after foul balls. You know, hit the top of the screen, come down. I ran and got the ball. I didn't want to hear from Coach Morris that I wasn't hustling.
Right. Listen, we all have those moments. And at 44 years old, I'm still having them. Still making adjustments.
I mean, I made my adjustment at 16. But, hey, at least you learn. That's what it's about, Jimmy, lifelong learning.
That's it.
Never lose your hustle, TR.
There you go. Never lose your hustle, man. He's right.
Who's that from, Lou? You holding up a T-shirt there?
Yes.
Shep.
Oh, Shep.
It's
My UW shirts.
Seton Hall. Oh. Oh, okay.
Very nice.
And Blue Jay colors for Anthony Kay. He wasn't going to UNC Wilmington. He went to
UConn. Yeah, okay.
UConn. It's not my fault.
Hey, is Ward Melville just a satellite campus
What's that?
for UConn?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We're satellite campus for St. Anselm's. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
We're going to be 6-36, and I'm sure my friends will be calling me really happy when they're 6-36. And that's you know, I'm not like the kids. The kids put the losses in front of the wins. You know what I mean? That's how they get all confused. You know, the wins go first.
Right, on the left side.
You know?
The win goes on the left side.
Yeah. You know, again, I don't know, but I guess you know.
Same side as the lineup, Lou.
100% right. Good players on the left, bad ones on the right.
So Lou, you have anything in closing for Tommy that we missed?
Listen, every time Tom's up to Hofstra, I try to clear my schedule to go up there and tell all the guys this is the guy threw in the 90s, and that's all I got for Tommy Reardon. I mean, you know, that's all I got. And people don't believe me. Tough luck. You ask Tommy yourself. You know, I love Tommy's phone calls when the northern teams come down and they don't act accordingly, and Tom goes on a 25, 30-minute rant. And I go, this is Tom Reardon I know and love. This is a guy I had fun with. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, come on, he's laughing. Look, he knows.
It's true. It's true.
The passion of baseball extends beyond the field, right?
I love the game.
Great are the stories, right?
It's given me so much. It really has. You know, I've gotten to go down to regional at the old Alex Box Stadium.
Mm.
Sure.
That was our first regional. Then a couple years later, I get to go to the new Alex Box Stadium. I've been to Ole Miss. I've been to California, played at Pepperdine, right next to the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
This game has so much to give. I just ask that you play hard and you enjoy it.
Let's see. You always were so into it, and we were lucky to have you when we were there because it just made the culture better. That even the sports information director / volunteer assistant, right, Lou?
Oh, he definitely volunteer assistant on that.
But
hey,
no, listen, Tommy, we'll have you on in the future. You know, we'll probably fail with this podcast, but if we don't, we'll bring you back. And really appreciate you coming on and appreciate your friendship over the years. We've always kept in touch, whether it was IMing on the AOL into Facebook Messenger to finally texting, and now we're podcasting. So,
well, thanks for having me on. I've been listening to the episodes, and the people you had on have been tremendous. You know, Patrick Anderson, Bobby Scales. I really like Bobby Scales and his whole thing. You guys bring something to a podcast that I don't think a lot of people have, is experiencing the game at all different levels, and you've got to know people who make things happen. And I find that more interesting than hearing from maybe a Hall of Famer.
Right.
There's so many parts of this game that you just don't know about, and you learn something new every day.
Yeah, I think what I told Chris the other day, what's really cool is that if you do listen to it, almost everybody has the similar message where the blueprint's right there for you. You know, everybody has the same work ethic, mindset, and hopefully it resonates with some people. But
I hope it does. Like I said, it's a great game. It's just getting better. And if we can help the younger guys, you know, keep working at it, it's going to be even better. Like what you guys doing at Tech. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I thought that program was dead and buried. And then you guys came on and you changed the culture. Literally overnight. I know it's still got some more to go.
Yeah.
We expected, but seeing that run last year, from an alum point and as other alums, that was great to see. It really was. Division I, Division II, Division III, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You made a run in a national tournament, and that's something that, as good as those teams were that we had early 90s, we didn't get that opportunity.
Well, it's slightly different when it's D1, but
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You guys made the most of an opportunity you had, and that's what it's about.
But the experience is still really special.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
So.
Well, thanks, Tom. We appreciate you jumping on. Lou, thanks for jumping in and Zoom bombing on Tommy Reardon today.
Wait, say something. I couldn't do without you three guys. I Zoom myself. It's not that much fun.
We'll definitely get these two guys on again. And to our audience out there, thanks for tuning in and listening. You can subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean. You can also check out the recording on YouTube. So go over there, hit the subscribe button. And until next time, folks, Wild Pitch Podcast.